So let's talk about cancer for a few minutes. A few years ago, the government decided that cancer was a World Trade Center condition. One out of every 2 Americans develops cancer regardless of their background of exposures. Well, not regardless, but still on average. These firefighters are aging. Cancer is a disease of aging. And so a broad number of cancers are covered under the World Trade Center program. There were undoubtedly carcinogens or cancer-causing agents down at Ground Zero, a number of them actually. How do you think about the issue of what World Trade Center exposures contributed to the cancer risk? Your group has studied cancer, as have the other groups. You think there's any way of distinguishing a World Trade Center related cancer from a cancer that might have occurred in any event?
Well, once again, there's no specific pathologic marker for World Trade Center disease. There's no specific fiber or particle or heavy metal that we can associate with World Trade Center under a microscope. But what we can do is we can do these population studies. And our cohort, as you said, is unique because we have not had longitudinal dropout, but also because our cohort was defined prior to 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we haven't had any selection bias in terms of who's in our cohort. They didn't join our cohort after they came down with cancer. And when we look at the cancer rates in our group and compare it to either similar age, gender-matched population in the United States or to World Trade Center firefighters, non-exposed World Trade Center firefighters, we see increases. We don't see increases in every cancer.
Which cancers do you see?
So overall, and it's a broad brush, but overall, when we compare it to the U.S. population, we have a roughly 6% increase in cancer. A very small signal, but an increased signal. But when we compare it to firefighters without WTC exposure, age matched as best as possible, we see anywhere between a 19% and a 31% increase in cancer, overall all cancers, depending how we do the statistical analysis. And for certain cancers, right, specific cancers, we've seen a very large increase, 3-fold or greater increases, particularly thyroid cancer. Right? But also we've seen dramatic increases in colon cancer, in all hematologic cancers combined. Right? This tells us that we've got both biologic plausibility, as you mentioned, a host of carcinogens there, and now we have increased rates. But what further proves this is that these rates, very often for the exact same type of cancer, thyroid cancer, colon cancer, hematologic cancers, prostate cancer, have been duplicated in 2 other World Trade Center exposed cohorts, the World Trade Center Health Registry and the non-FDNY Responder Consortium with the data center at Mount Sinai.